Yes, a very good evening to you from me, Adam Blackmore, and the Solent Sports team on a special Monday night Solent Sports show live from St Mary's Stadium. Over the next hour, Southampton supporters here will get the opportunity to quiz the key men at their club. And all the gentlemen sat alongside me here in the Mick Shannon suite have played their part in getting Southampton back to the Premier League at the first time of asking. I haven't written this, but what a day that was, everyone. Right, to my left, Chief Executive Phil Parsons, next to me here. To my far right, Director of Football Operations, Mark Bitcon. To my far left, Club Captain and long-serving Club Captain, Jack Stevens. And to my right, the First Team Manager, Russell Martin. Your promotion panel, everybody. Right, as always, get your questions up so Rob, who has the microphone, can come to you for them. I would just like to start with getting everybody warmed up a bit. Let's start to my right, shall we? So, Mark Bitcon, rugby legend like myself, as we've talked about, former employee of various massive institutions in the sporting world, and Director of Football Operations for Southampton and for the Sport Republic Group. Mark, who's easier to manage, Eddie Jones at England Rugby or Russell Martin?
Definitely Eddie Jones.
Really? How are you enjoying your transition from rugby in England back into football?
Yeah, it's great. I think wherever I go next, I'm the sport from where I went before. So when I went from Manchester City to the RFU, I was the football guy. Coming back from the RFU, now to Southampton, I'm the rugby guy. So yeah, it's been a nice transition back to football. I had a great time at Manchester City for 4 years, and last year was fantastic, as we all know. So yeah, great to be back in football.
And can I just say, it's nice to have somebody from Manchester City at the club for more than a year. Well done. Oh, the old ones are the best. Russell Martin, how are you, sir?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good. Could you just get a little bit closer to the microphone so you can share that with everybody?
I'm good, but you told me off stage that I'm looking tired, so...
Well, I didn't tell you. Just at the end of the season, you said you were shattered.
He did. It's fine.
If I ever look as good as you, I'll have had to win the lottery and spend a lot of money on it, right? So, you told me at the end of the season you were shattered. You were shattered last Wednesday, as we all were watching Lazio play. And I just thought, blimey, the season's just starting. The poor bloke, he's now got to galvanise himself for 10 more months in the Premier League for the first time. It's exciting, but it's exhausting, yeah?
Yeah, no, I'm feeling good, yeah. Just look tired, but no, I'm excited about it. It's been... Wednesday night was exhausting, wasn't it, with all the stuff on the pitch? But no, it's been a really, really good pre-season. It's been busy, as all the guys on here will tell you. But I've really, really enjoyed it, and now I'm excited for the season to start properly.
Jack Stevens, welcome again to the forum. Lovely to have you there. And as somebody who's known you a very long time, can I say how pleasing it was to see someone whose heart is in the club lifting that trophy at Wembley at the end of May. All the ups and downs. Because it's the Championship, does that Wembley final trump everything? Or when you look at your career, do you think, well, that's the pinnacle, or can it not be because it wasn't the Premier League? Do you know what I mean?
No, I think for me, looking back on that day, it was, and probably will always be, the pinnacle. The pressure going into that game, obviously, for me personally, being at the club for so long, I felt probably maybe a little bit more pressure.
It's because you care.
Yeah, maybe, but I think obviously, all the lads care. But obviously, I put a little bit more pressure on myself because at the start of the season, when I was fortunate enough to be made captain, that was the aim. I wanted to be the guy that led this team back to the Premier League. Obviously, we wanted to do it automatically, but we sort of run out of games in the end. But to do it at Wembley is, everyone will say it, but it's the best way to do it. Maybe not for the few weeks building up to it, but definitely on the day. So yeah, very, very proud of that day, and I think the relief to do it was massive. It's absolutely, Phil Parsons, worth the fine from the authorities for the crowd behaviour, isn't it, from that West Brom night, to see what happened?
think?
We don't deserve a fine.
I agree. Yeah.
Anyway, we will see.
Okay. It was quite an end to your first year, by the way, as chief executive, with a lot of change after relegation from the Premier League, a lot of turnover on the pitch, off the pitch, management, staff, everything. I imagine you're delighted with how it's gone, and you've got safe standing into Northern Men, but you've been doing a lot of projects. Have you almost finished, or will that keep continuing, this evolution of things around the club?
No, we. I think we'll always be changing things. I think that's the aim. We won't stand still. Does the mic work?
Yeah, the mic should work. Yeah.
When I joined the club, it was a really interesting time. It was very emotional, and we decided we want to run the club a lot more efficiently. So compared to the Premier League last time, we had around 440 people at the club. We're now running it on 280. And the reason why is that we want to get more money into football. We want to try and be more competitive. And we've got really good people at the club, and we think we can grow the revenue of the club and do things differently, which is why you start to see change. And it's going to take quite a long time. And it's a multiple year project to hopefully grow. But we've been doing so much on the pitch, off the pitch. And I think, Jack talks about the buy-in of the players. We actually got buy-in from everybody who's working here, and really good commitment, which is great.
And can I just ask you about the safe standing, because I love that safe standing area, potentially the atmosphere. And then I came on Wednesday and saw it in the away end, and I thought, what are you being nice to them for? But I believe you've got to have it, haven't you? Is that right?
Yeah, let's just be straight on the safe stand. So we had over nearly 2,000 seats closed at St Mary's for a long time. That's a lot of money for us not to be able to receive as a club. One of the reasons for that is because fans stand up permanently, so we get fined and we get told you have to close seats, etc. And the second bit was when you actually talk to a lot of the players. Jack, hopefully you'd be nodding. They were constantly saying to me about the noise from the away fans and what can we do. So we got the police commissioner in, and we asked him what it would take to actually move the fans and where they can go. We had multiple discussions, and we figured out putting them in the corner was the best for the noise and actually safety and getting them in and out of the ground. And it gives us an end where hopefully we'll be a true 12th man next year along with the rest of the stadium, because if we can do anything like replicate West Brom, not outside, please don't do that again, but I think Russ and Jack will really tell you that it's going to be a true 10-point swing if we can get behind the boys, because we need that. We are underdogs going in. It's you've seen the bottom three go down from last season, and it's tough because the rules and financial fair play, it's all against you. Everything's always against you. So we have to do things differently. We're going to have to buck the trend. But one thing we have got is a really good group of people on the pitch and off the pitch that are together, and we need that.
Can I just echo that with you, Jack, about the noise, that West Brom game, the home game? And the reason is because whether we believe it or not, down here, some people see coming to Southampton as not that hard compared to going to other places in the country where you might expect your hardcore, working class fan bases like Liverpool to be much louder and so on. When you got that, what we did at West Brom, obviously that could happen every game if everybody decided to. How much difference does it make when you're on the pitch actually?
Yeah, I think firstly the bus journey in for us, we obviously got told that there was going to be some fans. There's a few more than we thought, but it was brilliant. I think the lads were blown away. It almost took our minds off the game a little bit coming in, because we got stuck obviously on the bus because the driver couldn't see. But then coming into the dressing room, for me personally, I just felt like we'd already won. I felt like the game was done and dusted, and I think if we can create that, or at least try and get as close to that as we can, like Phil said, it will definitely be a big point swing in our favour.
Give yourselves a round of applause, Saints fans, for doing that. Anything with the smoke. Right, let's have some questions from the floor, shall we? Any hands going up? I'm quite happy to talk for an hour, but really it's your forum. Let's start on the front row over here, Rob, shall we? Man in the black t-shirt, please.
Thank you. Just a question for Russell regarding the goalkeeping position. Love Alex McCarthy, and I really appreciate what he did at the end of last season. However, pre-season, I think every game he's given the ball away in the system that we play, and to give possession away in the Premier League is going to get punished. So are we looking at strengthening in that position?
I think we're looking at strengthening in a lot of positions because we have to. I think it's the Premier League. We're stepping up a level. I love the players that we've got, and I think we have a really strong core group that deserve an opportunity to attack the Premier League in a very different way than they did last time. So, but I think we have to be open to players coming in before the end of the transfer window in whatever position we deem fit, really. So I think pre-season is pre-season. I'd much rather Alex made loads of mistakes trying to do the right thing now than not. It'd be more of a problem if he didn't try and do what I'm asking him to do ultimately. So I'm pretty relaxed about it. I think he's been better as the games have gone on, and also he's actually much better when the players who are going to play regularly every game are on the pitch. There's been not much of a problem really. So he was incredible at the end of last season, as so many of these guys were, the same as the guy sitting at the end of the table. And it's a really difficult balance because they deserve the opportunity to go to the Premier League and be themselves and attack it. But we do need a bit of help. I think everyone's really clear on that, and Phil, I'm sure, will answer some questions on that tonight. Hopefully he'll answer more than I do on recruitment and spending money and all that stuff. So, but honestly, I can be relaxed about it because I love the group that we work with. I know how hard they work. But yeah, of course, it's natural. We want to add, and we will add before the end of the window. It's just when you want good players and you're not willing to just settle for certain people in certain positions, then it just takes a bit of time. And also, like we spent a lot of money on two guys to make them our players that were here last year. So the feeling is we haven't spent any money. We have. But I understand they haven't made us better. We are just the same as last year by keeping them two. But they are huge bits of business for us as a football club with a big investment financially. So I don't think that can be underestimated or underappreciated, really. So I can sit here and genuinely be relaxed about it because I'm excited about what the group can do. I really believe in them. And also that we are going to have some new players before the end of the transfer window. Be ones that we actually want. And if the goalkeeper is one of them by the end of the window, it's because we've deemed that someone is good enough or better than what we have. And we want that and we need that.
Thank you, Russell. Next question, sir, in the second row. Young man.
Hi, I'm Louis. Just a quick question for Russell. I was just wondering, what opposition are you looking forward to playing against next season, and what manager are you looking forward to competing against?
What are you looking forward to, Louis?
Oh, he's taken the mic.
Oh, the microphone's gone. Sorry. Man City.
Go on, Rob. Go on, Rob. Let's have Louis back because he asked that so well. Kids always ask the best questions because they just ask it.
I'm looking forward to playing Man City, and because obviously they won the Premier League, and if we could beat the champions, that would be brilliant. Obviously, I'd love to beat everyone, but Man City.
Some people don't look forward to playing Man City. Some people love the challenge. How are you on that?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it all. I really am. So, yeah, I'm excited, mate. I think Man City will be a good one. Their manager is someone I admire and respect a huge amount. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. It'll be good.
Next question. Over there in the middle, sir.
Hi there. Question probably for Russell and Jack. I really love the style of play. Thank you so much for the last 12 months. It's been incredible. My question is about Russell. You said a couple of times when things haven't gone so well, or we slowed down maybe in a half, that we've lacked intensity and aggression and things like that. In pre-season, we've seen a few more maybe technical fouls and those kind of things to slow the play down. Is there anything else that we're looking to do to try and really push that aggression forward?
Yeah, I think. Well, it's been.
How's your Rodri fouls looking?
Jack's an animal, so that helps. But no, honestly, I think we have to manage. We're a young group, and we haven't got like a naturally like nasty, aggressive group, which is not the culture we have. But on the pitch, it's going to be really important that I think the biggest thing for me and the message to the players has been from day one of pre-season that because of the style of play, people that don't watch, and the lazy assumption will be that we're nice and we're soft and we're nice to watch, a bit fluffy and all that stuff. But actually, we really weren't last season, and we're really not. And I just don't ever want that to be the perception of one of my teams and our team and our club that we are just going to play nice football and be nice. So maybe it's been a bit borderline at times in pre-season, but I'd much rather we went over the line and be nowhere near it. And I think we might have to accept that then sometimes it's going to be a bit scary and a bit, but I think we need to be clever, and we have certain guys that are really experienced that will help the lads manage games, and it's our job as coaches to help them manage games and develop like a personality on the pitch that reflects us and the team. And I've loved watching them in pre-season, the aggression and fight they showed, and towards the end of last season as well.
Yeah, Jack, just to build on that, as the question was for both of you, I spoke to Taylor on Saturday night, and he said he's enjoyed the niggly bit of pre-season because you've been doing things and making sure you stop and play and so on. But in the Premier League, you have to be smarter, don't you? You have to be more cynical because every other team is.
Yeah, and I think first and foremost, when you're in pre-season and you're playing teams from Spain and Italy, it's always niggly. There's always it's such a contrast of styles. Obviously, in England, you do get away with a little bit more. So when we play these types of teams in pre-season, they don't tend to like it, and they're not used to it as much. So it will always not boil over as much as last Wednesday. But I think, like the gaffer said, like with what happened with Charlie, I think we'd always prefer him to go too far that way than not back his mate up or just walk away or pull out of tackles. Like that's not how we can go into the Premier League. We need to be all in together. If one of us is having a fight, then we're all in.
Anyway, next question, sir.
A question for Phil or Mark, whoever feels best to answer it. If I reported like targets like O'Reilly or Carvalho, they apparently could have looking for like high 20s, early 30s for these sort of players. Financially, do we have the money to be competing and paying those prices? And if not, what's the kind of long-term strategy to be kind of competing financially in this league?
Right, thank you. Good question. I'm going to put that in two parts. First part to Phil, second part about the long-term strategy with Mark in a moment. Phil, yes, Carvalho went for quite a lot of money, considering Liverpool paid $5 million for him 2 years ago, and other players you've been linked with. So, as Russell said, you spent 20 and 18 on Taylor and Flynn. How much more is in the Sport Republic transfer tank?
There's about 5 questions there, so let's break it down a bit, because one of the important parts is, are we competitive? I think so far we're around 6th highest net spenders in the league, but again, it's really easy forgotten because we brought in a few players, so it's really tough to be competitive straight away because you need to get your squad to a certain standard. So we're looking across all targets, so that will include loans, that will include permanence, but it's not, when you buy a player, as I've learned coming into football, it's not as simple as, it's not Championship Manager where you press enter and you buy a player. There are so many factors in between, including, will a club accept? Is there a price tag on the player in the first place? Will they sell him? Does the agent want it to happen? Do the parents want it to happen? You've got so many points that it's quite complicated. But we said a year ago, actually, at a fans forum that we need to be quite responsible at Southampton because it's not about this year. The club needs to continue. I don't want to talk to you about the complications if we didn't come up. It was probably one of the biggest goals in the history of the club, or maybe the biggest, because it's being in the Championship is so difficult with all of the financial rules and stipulating the gap. The gap is so big, but equally when you go up, your contracts all jump. You don't just get 100 million in the bank. It doesn't happen like that. You get small chunks throughout the year. So it's about cash flow as well, when money goes in and out of the club. So it's really complex about where that happens. So Sport Republic have put in over £200 million into this club over the last couple of years. That's the first bit of money for over 10 years, by the way. So that's why we've had to become more efficient. So the owners are very bought in, but then we have financial fair play as well, so we do have to watch the rules, and sometimes we need some outs before you can do some ins at the same time. So we're balancing all of that. Russell, myself, we talk every single day about moving transfers with the owners. Everybody's very well aligned. We've got a huge scouting network. And we'll do the best we can for the club. But we're not going to do that at the same time as putting ourselves in a really, really bad financial situation and Southampton not being here in 5 years.
You feel there's also, of course, a couple of Brazilian players who are coming in January. One might be coming sooner. Mark Bitcon, in your role as Director of Football Operations, which is responsible to Sport Republic as well as to Southampton Football Club, I think it's really interesting for everyone to learn about what the advantages are of being part of a group. Now, obviously, Southampton isn't going to be like the City Group with that amount of clout around the world and that amount of clubs. But what are the advantages to Southampton of being part of Sport Republic and of being part of a multi-club strategy?
Yeah, there's huge advantages. The expertise is the main one. We share scouting networks and recruitment across the world. You'll have seen we have signed 2 players from South America and 2 players from Japan, and that's our bigger network of scouts that reaches across the globe for a single club. It's very difficult to do that with the expertise that we have. We also share insights in performance services as well as data science, which is a big buzzword at the minute. How you know all these top teams have data science teams with 6 or 7 in. We've got the same, and we share that across clubs. I speak to the sporting directors and the coaches, and so does Russell, from our partner clubs every single week. So sharing the insight and expertise. We've got a fantastic coach in Stanimir Stolov in Gustav Peru, who's got loads of experience. Ahmed Kantari in Valencia, who's another fantastic coach. And it's the ability to share and collaborate that is our real strength. And I think we do that better than other multi-club models, if I'm being honest, and having that experience in the past. I think there's a humbleness across the group to share and openness. We've got coaches coming in. Me and Russell visited the other clubs, so this weekly touch point and sharing the expertise. We've also got Rasmus Ankersen, who's been highly successful in what he does, working with us all on a daily, weekly basis. So this multi-club model really does. We do get the fruits of the sort of multi-club model on a daily basis as well as a weekly basis. And just going back to your question, sir, around longer term, we have heavily invested in youth. We'll continue to do that. When Tyler and Sam come through like they have this pre-season, it's like signing 2 new players of asset value. I know Russell's been really happy with those guys in the pre-season. Yeah, it's pre-season. Hopefully we can develop those guys. Russell's done a fantastic job over the last season in his career of developing young talent, and we see that moving forward in the future. So investing in youth is really important to us.
Okay, and if I can just pick up on that quickly, the academy here has this history that everyone talks about, the Theo Walcott and Gareth Bale, and go back beyond that to Shearer and Letitia and everybody else, okay? But the academy world seems to have changed in the last 10 years, and Manchester City and Chelsea have turned it into like a farm, like a business, where they get them in and they never play for the club and they go again and they make money. How do you thrive in the academy world when you're not one of those big monster clubs with that much pull? What does success look like for a Southampton academy in this decade?
Well, it's continued to get youth team players minutes like Russ has done this pre-season, and we've got Andy Goldie, who's fantastic in terms of what he does. Sorry, can you hear me now? Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Well, we can all hear you, yeah.
Yeah, going good? Yeah, we've got Andy Goldie in that space as our academy director, who's doing a great job in bringing talent through. It is a tough market when you're competing against City and Chelsea, but we believe in our process and systems, and we also know Russ is a big believer in talent development and youth. Not every coach in the Premier League is. Russ has given those chances and debuts last season, and I'm sure that'll continue if the talent's where it needs to be. So we're really confident in that moving forward.
Okay, next question, please. Sarah then.
Hi, question for Captain Jack and Russell. First, Captain Jack, thank you for confirming that Saints are going to fight in every match and that you're going to go all in. You heard the response. That's all that I and any Saints fan would expect from the team this season, fighting. Russell, have we been practicing playing with 10 men though?
They play against 12 a lot in training, and it takes them about 10 minutes to realise. But no, you work on different scenarios all the time. We actually did for the playoffs. We worked on a few different things, and but no, hopefully it won't come to that too much. But it's a good idea. Maybe we should start.
Right, Rob, get yourself across that row. I think you're light and slim. Yes, young man.
Hi. Thank you very much for the moments we had last year. They're some of the best moments I've had as a Southampton fan, so thank you so much. I've learned over the years, I think we all have learned not to get attached to players over the years, but Walker Peters was brilliant last year and was really loyal to us. I just wonder, as he's still here, is there any chance of maybe persuading him to sign a new contract, or is there just no chance at all?
Right, that's a good question. I'm going to do two parts to this. Russell, can you do it from a manager's perspective about Kyle and what it would mean if he did decide to stay and he didn't go by the end of
Yeah,
August?
he's a top player. I think you all know that. I don't need to say that. He was brilliant for us last season. Some of the stuff he can do with the ball, I couldn't dream of. Like when you watch him every day, he's honestly, I'm sure Jack will tell you, he's probably, well, I don't want to put words in Jack, mate, he'd be one of the best players that you would have trained with for sure. What he can do, but yeah, we're in discussions with him, and he will make a decision based on his career. So it won't be the fact that we don't want to keep him or we haven't tried to keep him. So we are trying to keep him here for longer term. Short term, I hope he's here for the season, whatever happens. It's not ideal for someone to be in the last year of their contract, but I think last year with Stewie and Shay showed actually if they're all in and they're committed, they can contribute hugely. So if Kyle ends up staying, which I hope he does, the best case scenario is he signs a new contract and everyone's really happy. And the worst case for me right now is that he stays and is then on a free next summer, but helps us stay in the Premier League. So it's a win-win in the short term, but hopefully we get the long-term win as well. And if not, and if he ends up leaving before the end of this transfer window, that means that the club can reinvest in someone else that's going to really help us stay in the league. So there's a few different things, but are we trying to keep him? Yes. Is he desperate to leave and kicking up a fuss? Not at all. He's a brilliant professional and he played on Saturday and played really well. And if he's here next Saturday, he will be in contention to play in the team. And then the rest after that is sort of beyond our control, really. We've done everything we can, and I really say that, like Phil and the ownership group have made a big effort to keep him. And we've made a big effort in the way that we treat him, hopefully in the way how important he is to us. And then it's his decision, then we'll respect that. So I don't ever hold, like, it's not personal, that it's about his life and his career. But whilst he's here, is the only thing I can judge him on. He's been amazing, and hopefully that will continue.
Well said. Phil, anything to add on that from your perspective as Kyle's situation? Are you all just waiting for Kyle, or does Kyle have to make a decision so you can plan yourselves and have time before the window ends?
We've
for bids?
We've been not really. We're not sitting there waiting for bids. I think Russell spoke very well then, which is, Kyle's got a decision to make what he wants to do. I think Kyle is a great young guy who's given all of his commitment to the club, and I think he's also been really professional the way that he's conducted himself. So we would try and do the right thing for the club. And for Kyle at the same time. So we've been very open with him that we'd love him to stay, and I think he knows all the fans want him to stay. He's ambitious as well. He's an ambitious guy, which I have no issue with at all. We've got no issue with players, when they're open with us about what they want to do, as long as they do it in the right way. But we'll always put the club first.
He's certainly probably, Jack, the player I've seen get kicked most in one season, really. Carl Walker-Peters last year in the Championship. Jack, just to give us a bit of insight, because we don't understand the world, and you professional players, you're in a dressing room, it's August. Some players don't know if they're staying, going, whatever. As captain, how much of a role do you have to play in this time of year at making sure everything's just calm and focused in the dressing room? Because you all talk as players about somebody, you see rumours like everyone else. Is that all kept outside of it, or is it just part of the banter of getting ready for a training session?
Yeah, I think there is that sort of joking banter part of it, but there are serious conversations going on as well, and I think the gaffers and Phil has said everything you need to know about Kyle. I think you will see how good of a footballer he is, but also how professional he's been as well. I think last summer he had a lot of interest. I don't know what that feels like to have all that interest, but it must be quite difficult to concentrate. And I don't think anyone would have stood in his way and begrudged him a move back to the Premier League this time last year. So fair play to him for staying and being as good as he was last year, and exactly the same this year. I don't, from a player's point of view, in the dressing room, all you can ask is someone to train well, turn up on time. It sounds so basic, but you just want them to be a good person. And when they stop doing that, that's when you've got a problem, and that's when the lads will turn. and I think that's where we're in such a good place in the dressing room, where the group is so strong that anyone that sort of moves out of that strong group is pushed aside, because we know how important that was last year, and it's going to be important this year. So for Kyle, I think he's been outstanding, and obviously I selfishly want him to stay and hopefully sign a new contract. But if Kyle decides his future lies elsewhere, then I'll shake his hand and say good luck, because he's been excellent. And even this summer, he hasn't played that many games, and then he played Saturday and was out of this world, which is just ridiculous. But yeah, I can, like I say, I'll shake his hand and say good luck to him, because like Phil says, he's very ambitious, like we all are. But hopefully he can reach all his goals and ambitions here. But like I say, if he chooses to do that elsewhere, then that's up to him as a footballer.
I guess, Mark, I'm always fascinated by the secrecy around football. You've worked in other sports as well, in rugby union like me and other things. And then I watch American football, and then I see a video of Caleb Williams last week shouting out what his signing on fee was in the team meeting at $25.5 million coming out of college. And they celebrate, the Americans, their wages. They celebrate with each other the fact that this player's getting loads of money. It's a very opposite world in British sport, isn't it?
Yeah, Carl's definitely not been doing that.
No. You offered him $25.5 million. So look, but do you think that's just a culture thing, or do you think it has to stay secret in football what goes on? Having worked in other sports, you worked in dressing rooms as strength coach and so on, various things all the way through your life. So do you think, do players talk in your place about what they're getting and sort of share it all with each other, so they push each other up the wage ladder, or not? Or do you think it's all kept a bit hush-hush?
I think it's probably a bit of both. Probably 10, 15 years ago it was quite secretive, but now guys are a little bit more open. This next generation of talent coming through are a lot more open with their thoughts, feelings and some of the things that happened in their private life, whereas 10, 15 years ago that nobody shared anything. So I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but transparency is certainly what we see more in these dressing rooms these days.
Yeah, I think it helps the dressing room bond more as well, but there we go. Rob, question over there, Rob.
Cheers. Thank you, panel, and good evening, and thanks for the opportunity to speak to you all. Firstly, for the folks that are running the club, I'm a bit of a technophobe, so I don't own a smartphone, which means I can't get access to the Saints app. I was a bit disappointed that I couldn't vote for the end of season awards last season because there was nothing on the website. It all had to go through the app. I couldn't enter the Puma competition this year because it was on the app. Is there an opportunity for that to sort of go on the website so we can sort of get our votes in? We've sort of been Saints supporter for sort of 50 years now. It'd be nice to be able to take part. And secondly, Jack, I love you. Cheers. But I just wanted to know, are you looking forward to catching up with your old mate Bruno Fernandes this year?
Okay, let's have a quick, quirky answer from Jack Stevens about Bruno Fernandes. He might be signing a new deal at Manchester United. We're all very pleased for him. Love that club. So you've got nothing to say on Bruno Fernandes, really, have you?
No, I've got to be very careful because we've got a captain's meeting tomorrow, so I'll be seeing him on Zoom. So no, he's a top footballer. Yeah, he's top. Right. Yeah, he is. At least he doesn't moan a lot when he's on the pitch. And the more serious part of that question, Mr. Chief Executive, was the app, which obviously is the way forward. I mean, I'm tempted to say just put the app on your phone and make your life easier, but some people don't want to. Some people don't. So what are you restricting access by being more digitally or technically savvy and pushing forward, or are you just leaving people behind, or not?
I don't think we want to leave people behind. I don't think having the app is, a technophobe piece. I just think it's actually quite simple compared to the website. But we can have a look at voting on the website if that's what the feedback is, and we've always tried to take feedback from the fans all through last season. I think I spoke to probably over 500 fans directly on different topics around the stadium and what's working, what's not. I mean, we've got 70,000 plus users now on the app, so it is a really key point to actually talk to fans and try to be transparent and give them more content, etc. So we'll have a look at it, guys, but the app is a really easy way for us to communicate with everybody around the club, and there's a lot more on there as well.
you've had a lot of changes off the pitch, and I know you've got yourself involved in city stuff with the council. Now, I would say to tell them to reopen the train station and do things like that, but what's that about, you being involved with Southampton City Council and stuff? How could that benefit the club in any way?
Well, look, I'm quite new to Southampton, in general. I didn't live in central Southampton. I think the city has so much to offer, and I think working with the City Council, St Mary's is such a key part, and there could be a lot more investment this side of the city as well. So yes, I do sit on a working group with the City Council and with the local leaders to see what we can do. I am asking for a train station to be put back in over here because they just wind us up and park the trains there instead at the moment. So we're talking to them about a lot of investments we'd like to make, because we feel this part of the city has so much to offer, especially with the waterfront as well. We can't share everything that we've got in mind, but also, owners are very interested in investing in a lot more that makes Southampton Football Club a lot more sustainable going forward, because we want to be a financial club in the top 10 of the Premier League, not sitting, in the bottom 5 all the time. So, we've got a lot of work to do, Adam.
Okay, thank you. Right, next question over there on the right, sir.
Hi, I've been a disabled season ticket holder for over 20 years. Thanks for the season last season. It was absolutely blinding. I was actually in hospital watching the playoff final from my hospital bed, and I was screaming and got told off at the end. But it was amazing. As a disabled season ticket holder, unfortunately I wasn't able to get my season ticket in time because I was ill. So on the app online, is there going to be a way for disabled people to book disabled seats? Because as of now, you have to go through the ticket office, and sometimes trying to get hold of someone in supporter services and the ticket office takes days. Sometimes you can't get hold of them at all, and then it closes at 4 o'clock, and then you get cut off.
Okay. Well, let me ask a question for you, sir. Thank you. And keep putting your hands up for more questions, please, around the room. One at the back there, Rob, to go next to as well. I've just seen. This is almost about the app again, but also about accessibility to the club.
Well, look, these evenings,
not everyone can do things when they want.
Yeah, look, these evenings are really important to get feedback. We work with a fan advisory board. We work with different groups as well, especially around disabled fans and what access we need and the improvements. So we've met with Paul as well, who runs a lot of the groups. So we'll take that feedback and we'll deal with it offline, but it's fair feedback.
Thank you, Phil. And just to remind you all in the room that the fan advisory board will be meeting here with me after this forum finishes, where they will take questions from fans as well if you want to stay. So join me and them for that, please. You're listening to BBC Radio Solent on a Monday night. Solent Sport with Adam Blackmore live at St Mary's up until 7 o'clock with the annual Saints Fans Forum. Question over there on the right in the front row. Rob, please.
Yeah, this is to Russell. Congratulations on what you did last season. I thought it was absolutely immense. The unity that you brought to the football club, you've been the centre of it. It's been incredible because this club was pretty broken before you come in. So congratulations on what you did last season. I talk a lot on my channels about unity in the fan base as well. What's your message to the Southampton fan base? Many people watching back home as well. What's your message to the Southampton fan base this season? We're going to have some tough moments, aren't we? It's not going to be easy. But everybody needs to come together and be patient and back the team, don't they? And back you as well.
Well, is that your message or Russell's?
Oh, it's my message as well. And what's Russell's message to the fan base as well?
Yeah, exactly what you said. So we'll just copy and paste that. But I think, genuinely, Martin, it's I think last season was so different, so dramatic, so. Topsy-turvy at times. So like when we left the Stoke game here, I think the guys done their lap of appreciation, whatever it was, and most people had left because we were crap that day and it was raining, and we made a lot of changes to the team, and then I think the message was the same after that game. We had 3 games to still achieve what we wanted to achieve. Well, 4, we had to play Leeds still, and then this season is going to be exactly the same. We're going to need you, and like the West Brom game, honestly, it was incredible. It was one of the best I've ever experienced. We were emotional on the bus in when we saw everyone, and honestly, it it was one of the greatest experiences I've had in the game, and I've had plenty and some bad ones too. But it was really, really unique and really special. And we want to be in the Premier League and doing it in our way, which hopefully you guys have come to understand a little bit and to hopefully enjoy and be proud of the identity of the team. And they will fight for each other. We'll fight for everything this season, and we will try and do it in our way. And I will be called naive a million times, and I probably already have done already before the season started. We've been written off by everyone before the season started. I've seen all these prediction stuff. My brother sends me most of them about, I think we're 20th. I think Stan Collymore said that as well, which I'm really gutted about. Yeah, cool. Who? Paul Scholes? Yeah, so I think it's going to be everyone's, we're going to be everyone's team that they think is just going to be here to be here. So we are going to need to surprise everyone and to be us more than ever, and that includes you guys. And there will be some tough moments, I think. It's just the Premier League. I'm not naive to that. I played in it, and but I also got promoted with a team whose identity was purely on working hard and being all in a certain way. And we had the first game of the season to the last, very few Premier League appearances in that team, and we end up finishing 11th based on unity and togetherness and fight and spirit, and the fans being so behind the team that when teams came to our place, it was really, really tough. And I want that same feeling again now. And to do that, we need everyone, and even more than ever when it gets a bit tough. So like last year in September, we lost however many games in a row. And we came here against Leeds, and you guys were incredible. The atmosphere was amazing. It would have been so easy that day for it to not be. I think everyone thought I was going to get sacked at that point. So you guys turned up, and then the team turned up, and it's just not coincidence. The energy was there, and then there were some big games during the season where the energy was there. So yeah, I think my message is that you have your team, your club. It is part of you from a very early age. On the whole, on the majority, we're now here, and we're the owners are the custodians of it. They've chosen me to be in charge of the team. I then choose the players that go on the pitch, and I think all we can ever ask from anyone is that they give everything. And hopefully, if we give everything and you give everything, I really believe it will be enough. I really do. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing it. And I think we have a chance to have a really special and interesting and exciting season. But it is going to need everyone. So I think my message the whole time was to be together and to be us, to do it in our way, which we established, I think, over a year. Really strong identity and clear way of doing it. And we're going to work in that way harder than ever. The guys are in such a good place. They believe so much in what they're doing. And if we can all maintain that energy and that spirit, even when times are tough, then we'll give ourselves a chance. Thank you.
I was just smiling to myself when you were talking, Russell, and I was thinking back to September before you mentioned it. And I mean, we're all guilty of being fickle in football, and fans are worse than anybody, let's be honest. I'm saying this all to you as a fan myself. As soon as things go wrong, it's the worst thing ever. As soon as you win, you should win. It's like you can't win sometimes when you're in the game. But it was a remarkable turnaround from that point to the end of the season. It was one of the most enjoyable footballing journeys I think anyone in this room's ever been on. And I don't think it should be underestimated. And what I hope, Russell, is that people do understand. There's 30,000 people at St Mary's. You're playing a very good team who might have been in the Premier League 10 years. It might not be easy. And you might not have 65% of the ball, and you might have to play a different way, and you might go behind. But I mean, I get a bit of a dreamer. I like to think people will stay on board, but I just get a feeling at some point something will happen or whatever. Do you just, as a manager, does that always disappoint you? Or having played football and been through it, do you just accept that fans will have the right to boo sometimes and all that?
Yeah, I think one of the things I'm most grateful for in my career is spending 10 years somewhere in my last game getting booed off the pitch after playing 300 games. Because then it gives you like an understanding of... but then I went back at the end of that season and played in front of 20,000 fans for my testimonial game, where it was a completely different... So I understand that actually you just want to see your team win as a supporter. And if you feel that a player's not doing it, no matter what they've done, or a manager's not doing it, so I understand that last season winning at Wembley and getting promoted, it won't last long if we're not winning games. There maybe gives you a bit longer in terms of feeling of I actually did an all right job last season and blah, blah, blah. But you can't control that as a player or as a coach. So I will not lose time worrying about it. What I do hope is that people understand when we are having a tough moment, that doesn't help your team one bit. So it doesn't help the people on the pitch one bit so if Al McCarthy's lost a couple of balls in pre-season or whatever that happens in a game once, it doesn't help your team to start booing that, because the guys are not going to change that, because it's counterproductive to do something all week to really believe in a plan, to then have one moment of anxiety and then people in the stand don't like it, to then change everything, because then we might as well not play and we might just step on the pitch and cross our fingers is the best way. So for us, we are going to need everyone on board. I'm not saying just clap and be happy and all this stuff if it's not going well. It's our job to do better and be better all the time. But it's just not productive. And I feel like, being a fan myself as a kid, you support your team no matter what. And I think we're going to need that. That's the point. But I do understand when people get unhappy, just write to me and tell me. I had loads of them last season, and they were some of them were used as fuel, and some of them were were enjoyable to read. We got a few nice ones as well towards the end, which was nice. But in September, I got loads of letters, and that's the best way. I'll always respond. So if you're really unhappy, write to me and leave the players alone and just give me some stick.
Yeah, it's just life, isn't it? I'm afraid. I had a conversation with Flynn Downs when he went back to it after he went back to Ipswich for that horrible game over Easter, and he was at Ipswich from the age of 8 till they sold him and made a load of money when he went to West Ham, and he comes back and they booed him for 90 minutes, and I was like, as I get older I just think, what is wrong with people? But and he couldn't believe it either. He was, but
they hated him that much they tried to take him back this summer.
Talking of testimonials, it's not really a fashionable thing in football anymore. Steve Cook's still waiting for his at Bournemouth, unfortunately. That should have happened a summer or two ago. I spoke to Cookie about that. But Jack, you've been at the club 13 years. You must be due a friendly against, someone. Surely. Must be due something. Pre-season, Real Madrid here or something. Phil, get the money out. Right?
Get this man to sort it out.
We've had a discussion.
Oh, have you?
No.
That's the breaking news. Right.
Phil asked me at the end of the season, but to start thinking about it. But it's not something that I want to happen just yet.
Make you feel old if you have a testimonial.
Yeah.
Obviously, we'll play centre half together in that game. Please.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
I'll get you to say something about it, Russell, because then I'll clip it and it'll become a story that Jack. And then they're under pressure to give Jack a testimonial. Then, so I'll say, how much does Jack Stevens deserve a testimonial at Southampton Football Club?
Jack can have whatever he wants.
As long as you're not playing left back, all right? That's the main thing.
Yeah, because that went really badly last season, mate.
Right, next question. He knows I'm joking, even if he stared at me. Right, next question. Over there at the back.
For Phil Parsons, basically, I think that a lot of what you've done in relation to Red Wall, and obviously having a record number of season tickets holders, it's great. That's positive. I'm just wondering, obviously with the different zones that you've put around the footprint, I was kind of wondering, it's not really about that, but I was kind of wondering, in terms of revenue streams and stuff like that, obviously you want to increase that to help the club and get supporters on board, but my question's more about, you've taken away the 10% for the megastore, and also in real terms, if you look at burger, £10, and also cider, for example, Thatcher's and Kingfisher, who have been at the stadium for a while now. They've gone up 70p from last season.
Okay, let's get this question out then and answered. Phil Parsons, we are running out of time, but I do want to cover this. First of all, let's do the 10% in the season ticket holders in the merch, because that's the one people say to me. They've just got a limited amount of times they can use it now. Is that effectively right?
No, that's not necessarily right. So at the moment, yes, that's where we are, but we plan on putting offers throughout the season, throughout different games. I don't plan on doing one rule and sticking with it for the next 20 years. I think we need to trial and test and see how things go, get the feedback off fans. We have a long-term contract with Kingfisher, by the way. That's been at the stadium for a while. We've actually introduced new drinks and new offerings, etc. Everybody's told me how poor some of the food is, so we've ripped some of that up and we've made more changes. So we've tried to be adaptable. We're very open to taking feedback on what's not very good and what needs changing, and we'll always try to adapt. But again, there's questions around, you're going to sign a £30 million player, and at the same time, our ticket revenue has been flat for nearly 10 years because we haven't put money through with inflation and things like that. So we've tried to be really fair. We've had an average increase of about 6% across the stadium this year, which isn't that unreasonable. I think it's quite fair. So I think that's what we're trying to do as a club. But again, we'll pick things up with fan advisory groups and all of that, and we're really happy to take feedback all the time and adapt as we go. But I wouldn't get fixated on what you see today as what you'll have on an ongoing basis. And we also have a lot cheaper drinks, by the way, before the game leading up, because we want people to come earlier. So we will have options that are competing against pubs in the city centre as well.
Okay, and just on the food prices and stuff, that's gone up roughly, you're saying 6% across the board is an average. You're not particularly...
No, actually, no. Some food is actually, I think, the same as last year. We've got some options that might be slightly less, and we've got some new offerings. It depends where you go around the stadium as well. So we'll have the northern area, we'll have the Kingsland. So there's multiple options that you can move around. So I can't give you every price of every bit of food around the stadium, but it's not. I would say it's not unreasonable where we are, but happy to talk about it. I'll come and have a drink with you afterwards.
Right, you can pay it. You can buy it as well.
Yeah, I'll get 10% off.
Young man at the back, we might just have time for this last one. Go for it, young man.
Good evening, everybody. My question is for Russell. Russ, obviously, last season was fantastic. A key part of that was Che Adams. We obviously lost him this summer on a free transfer to Torino. You've got two strikers who can maybe fill his profile right now at the squad in terms of his hold-up ability. Ross Stewart, who's obviously had his injury problems, which have been well documented, and Paul Onuachu, who's obviously been linked with a move away. He was on loan at Trabzonspor last season. Is that an area you're looking to strengthen in? And if not, how are you going to be able to use those two if they aren't necessarily at the level you require at the start of the season?
So I think we're really flexible in terms of the formation and the type of player we need in certain positions. Because I think that will change game to game. So I don't think we need a set type in that position. So Shea ended up playing a lot of the season there, but actually we played Charlie there as a false nine. We played Stewie there as a false nine. Armour played there a bit. Sekou had a spell on the team there. So Shea made himself the number one choice just out of performance. It wasn't like, Shea's the guy from the start. We need to play that profile of player. So we made Shea a fantastic offer of a contract. He chose to leave. That's, again, his prerogative, and I wish him nothing but the best. I think it's great he's gone over there and tried something different, and I hope it goes really well for him and his family. So Roscoe is on his way back, and I really believe Ross is at the level he needs to be. We just need to get him in a place where he can contribute really consistently and regularly. And we're working hard, Mark and the sports science and medical team, with external people as well, to make sure that he is in a good place to compete for us. Paul got on Saturday because he is our player, and he had a great season last season. And amidst a lot of rumours and noise this summer, he's trained really, really well. So he is an option for us. And again, if we are looking for a certain type of player, Paul might be really useful against one opposition, and maybe we need another profile against someone else. So if they are both here, then we will try and utilise them. And then we have Armour and Ben who can play number 9 as well. We still have Sekou here who can play number 9. So yeah, I'm quite easy about it. But if we see someone we like and we want, and is a different profile to the players we have, and is we deem good enough or better than the players we have, and could be a really important player for us, then we'll try and sign him, whether that's as number 9 or as a goalkeeper, as we discussed earlier. So we had a meeting just before we came in here. Actually, me and Phil were on a recruitment meeting, catching up on everything, and there's a lot of plates spinning because it's that time of year. And at some point, yeah, hopefully we will land one or two of the players that we want. But these things can take some time, so we will wait and see. Long answer, mate. Sorry.
It's all right. We are almost out of time. Just a very quick one, Jack. If I looked at the bottom line, I'd say stay up this season. That's me being, that's my minimum thing I would want for you. What do you hope or strive for this season in your first season back in the Premier League? Is 17th okay?
It's a tough question because obviously we spoke earlier, the three that came up 2 years ago went down last year, so it's such a tough league to come back up into. So 17th, it would be a success, but that's certainly not what we're aiming for. We're certainly aiming higher than that. And this group of players is not a group that are just going to aim for 17th and just try and survive, the way that the manager wants us to play. We're going to be brave. We're not just going to try and hang on in games and try and nick points, and that's just not going to happen. We're going to play the way we want to play, because that's the way that the manager believes we've got the best chance of winning games, and we all believe that as well. So, I'm not going to give you a big headline, but we're certainly aiming higher than 17th.
Thank you, Jack Stevens. Thank you, Mark Whitcomb. And thank you to Russell Martin. It all gets underway at St James's Park on Saturday, and I, for one, cannot wait. Thank you to all the fans for turning up tonight. Thank you for the club for doing yet again. We're into the 20-odd years now, these forums. It's hugely appreciated. Good night, everybody. See you Saturday at St James's.
Thank you.